Grade 8s, welcome to your Friday math. So in our last math, we started getting into probability and using fractions and everything to name how often something is likely to occur. So we talked a little bit about experimental and theoretical probability. Today we're going to go deeper into that, as in we're going to be dealing with some more like complex problems, a little bit more complex spinners. But for now, let's do our review. So these are meant to be the colors. So this is blue, green, red, and red. We're going to talk a little bit about what the likelihood of landing on a certain color is. What's the likelihood of landing on the color blue? So if we're talking about the color blue, how likely are we to land on this thing? Well, if this is a perfect circle and they're all split up equally, this takes up about 1/4 of the circle. So if I spun the spinner, I have about a quarter chance of landing on blue. What about green? Well, green takes up about a quarter of this circle, so I have about a quarter chance to land on green. What about red? Well, red takes up 2 spots right here. So it takes up 2/4 of the circle, or if you remember equivalent fractions, it takes up about half the circle. So I have about half a chance of landing on red if I spun the spinner. And that is our little bit of a review. Today we're going to go into what if we had a more complex looking spinner? What about something like this? So we're going to do colors again just to make it easier. Oh, I don't want that. So here we have, we're going to call this blue. We're going to call this one pink, green, yellow, orange, and let's do purple. So we're talking about the chances of landing on these certain colors. Well, let's look at purple. What are our chances of landing on purple? Well, this is where it gets a little bit trickier because this takes up a little wedge, but these wedges here are bigger. So what we have to do is, remember when we took our fraction pieces and we had to split them up into equivalent sizes? That's what we have to do. So 2 of these smaller pieces take up the same amount as one of these larger quarter pieces. So now we have our fraction circle split up. So they have to be split up into equal pieces, like we have here. So I just put a line through the middle of this one and this section right here, so we have equal sized pieces. We need to figure out what is our likelihood of landing on purple. So purple takes up 1 slice out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I only have a 1 in 8 chance of landing on purple. What about orange? What is my chances of landing on orange? Well, it takes up 1 space and I have 8. So it's the same thing. What if I was spinning the spinner to figure out what is my likelihood of landing on blue or pink? So I can land on one or the other. Instead of just landing on one particular color, I'm landing on blue or pink. Well, how many spots does blue and pink take up? 1, 2, 3, 4. Takes up 4 spots out of the 8 on the circle. So I have a much better likelihood of landing on blue or pink because they take up bigger spots of the circle and because I have 2 different colors I can land on instead of just 1. So I have 4 in 8 chances, or if I put this into a simpler term, it's 1/2. So if I spin the circle twice, one of those I should land on blue or pink. What about the likelihood of landing on orange or green? So orange or green. Well, we need to look at how many slices that orange and green take up. So I have one slice here for orange and one slice here for green. So that's 2 slices in total out of 8. I need to put this into simplest terms. So that creates, if I just divide both by 2, that's 1/4. I have, if I spin this circle 4 times, if I put a spinner and spin it 4 times, I should land on orange or green 1 in those 4 times. And that's what it is. How about if, instead of colors, let's say these were names. So let's say this was Jess. This is, let's say Samantha. This is Ryan, Bob, Justin, and, oh, I need another boy's name. And Jeff. What we're trying to determine here is this an equal distribution of boys and girls? So do the same as in if I spin a spinner, am I just as likely to land on a boy's name or a girl's name? So let's find out. We have 2 girls' names. So we have 2, and they take up 1, 2, 3, 4 spots altogether. So Jess and Sam are both girls, so 1, 2, 3, 4 out of all the 8 are girls. Or, whoops, I can't spell today. Or 1/2 of the circle. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 boys out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots on our pie or on our circle. So that's our likelihood of boys. So between boys and girls, or 1/2, it is completely equal. However, is this the most fair spinner? As in, if I was just trying to land on Justin's name, is it fair? No, because as you can see, Jess gets 2 slices and so does Samantha. These 2 girls gets 2 spots worth of the slices on the spinner, whereas the boys only get a much smaller portion. So what would be more fair is if I just whited out these sections here. So if I was just whiting out these sections, each one had a better chance. Okay, whoops. I have to stop doing that. There we go. And now they have much better chances of landing on a certain name because now they each have the same slice. Now it's just you have a blank spot. However, if I'm spinning the spinner and I'm trying to land on a certain name, it's a lot more even now. So today you're going to be doing something very similar, as in you're going to be given more spinners or more examples on a worksheet, except this time it's just a little bit more advanced, as in you have to kind of gauge and look at the size. You have to look at the size of the section. So sometimes the section could look like this, one could look like this, one could look like that, and one could look like this. Is that an even spinner? As in, if these were names and I was trying to determine who, I don't know, is going to win a prize, is this very even? No, because whoever has this spot right here is much, much more likely to win than someone who has like this spot right here. So that's what you're going to be kind of working at, is you're going to look at kind of fractions. They should be relatively easy. I don't believe they go further than 8, as in like 8 spots of a circle. And you're determining like what is fair. So like there's going to be questions like, like with our names here, like Jess says that there's an equal amount of girls and boys represented on the spinner. Well, we did determine that half of the spinner is girls' names and the other half is boys' names. However, another question might ask, oh, Jess says I'm just as likely to win the prize as Ryan is. Well, no, because Jess had a much bigger spot on the circle. She had 2 out of 8 chances to win the prize when Ryan only had 1 out of 8. So that's completely unfair. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using your spinners and kind of trying to divide them up if you need to. And you're determining, are these fair based off of the questions that are being asked. So in terms of like girls versus boys, it is fair. But in terms of a particular person winning, it isn't fair. And otherwise, I think that is it for today. Email me, let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. You're able to enjoy some of the nice weather. I was working outside the other day and I already got a sunburn. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. But I'm hoping that you guys have a fantastic weekend. Get some rest and get outside. And I will see you on Monday.